You can't see it, but right there is my
But
Maker's
it's all
Mark
your collection of Maker's
collection.
Marks.
Yes.
Pam, we can virtually sign Don Hart's name on our book.
Okay, good.
So we
Please do. Just put my initials in via Zoom. That's what you put
yeah,
on
via
there.
Zoom.
Via Zoom, Don.
All right. Looks like we're starting. I'm going to mute everybody, and it's good to see everybody. Sarah, I didn't get to say hello to you, but hello. Enjoy the meeting.
Hello.
I'm gonna start. I actually think that was my best bell ring in the whole term so far. Welcome, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. I wanted to remind you to please silence your cell phones and try to keep the talking to a minimum because the voices do carry in here, and we want to make sure everyone can hear our wonderful announcements and all that, as well as our speaker today. So I would like to invite Cheyenne McBride to come up to the podium.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna do the same as last week. We're gonna start with the pledge and the four-way test, and then y'all can sit. So, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it the all concerned? Will build good will, better friendships. Will be beneficial to all concerned. Okay, guess what today is? It is. It's not National Laughter Day anymore. You're off the hook on that one. Okay, so today is National Pet Day. Pets are a great addition to our lives. They can help us no matter how we are feeling. There are many health benefits of owning a pet. They can increase opportunities to get exercise, get outside, socialize, like going to the dog park. Regular walking or playing with pets can decrease blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and triglyceride levels. Pets can help manage loneliness and depression by giving us companionship. Most households in the United States have at least one pet. Studies have shown that the bond between people and their pets is linked to several health benefits, including decreased blood pressure, cholesterol levels, triglyceride levels, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, and symptoms of PTSD. Increased opportunities for exercise and outdoor activities, better cognitive function in older adults, and more opportunities to socialize. So with that being said, I have a little challenge for you, like always. So if you have our shelters are super full. So if you have old blankets or pillows, I challenge you to collect them, take them to your nearest shelter. They are always looking for things like that to help comfort the animals as they come in. If you want to take it a step further, you can volunteer to go play with or pet the animals in the shelter. They need lots of love until they can find their forever home. And if you don't want to take your blankets and pillows, call me and I'll take them for you. Okay.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Now with the introduction of guests, Barry Stumba.
Thank you, Madam President. Not a whole lot going on in Lexington this week. So I'm delighted that we've got Rotary to come to today. Welcome, everybody. I'd like to go ahead and we have several guests today. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the Rotarian who's going to introduce their guests. So I'd like to start with Michael Wallace. Michael, where are you? Matt's got the microphone here.
I just wanted to bring in my good friend John. No real estate and upstairs. he is a realtor here based in Lexington, Central Kentucky, in Lexington, and we, there's quite a bit of nonprofit work, so you'll.
Welcome. Next in line, Yuki Cooper from Gray Construction here is going to be introduced by Brett Anderson. I guess I've already introduced him, but you can.
Yeah, let me introduce the manager for economic development at Gray Construction. Serendipitously came in the same day Jeff is speaking today, but please give Yuki a warm welcome. She's considering and interested in membership at Rotary.
Welcome. Thank you. Bill Graycraft had a guest. Bill, where are you? Bill's right over here, man.
My guest today is Charlie Fox. Charlie and I work at City National Bank. We worked together for about 10 years. And Charlie's looking at serious organizations to join and follow the road.
Welcome, Charlie. Nelson Rhodes. Nelson has a guest.
My guest today is Tom Shea. Tom is a real estate attorney, partner at Path out of Cincinnati and works with us here locally. He is a family of our actors and should be enjoying Rotary.
Thank you. Welcome. Jeremy Maynard.
My guest is R.G. Conlon. Believe it or not, he's been my mentor for close to 25 years. And he was the CIO of Bischoff Services. And he's opened his own business, titled performing same services for the small business.
Thank you. Welcome. And I would like to really quickly, is Laura Corn Mobley here? Okay, I wanted to go ahead and introduce Mary Ellen Fithless. She's still a guest, but she's a proposed new member. And so she said that make sure that we all vote for her. So Mary Ellen, welcome. Welcome. Nice to be here. And thank you all very much.
Thank you, Barry. Kevin Weaver for the gambling portion of our meeting. And I lost yesterday at Keeneland, I have to admit. What are we, Ace of Clubs,
Yep.
and how much money?
767.
767. Try not to miss these out with my tickets. 9457. 9457. Oh.
That's our speaker on there.
Oh.
Hey, all right, Kevin.
All right.
Here we go.
Pick the winner.
There we go.
Oh, no hearts. Sorry, thank you for your donation. And the next ticket is 9412. 9412. I can put these in here. Oh, Eileen, you feeling lucky? Yes, I am. Yeah.
Another king.
Ooh, really? Yeah. I'd also like to welcome all of our Zoom Rotarians on the computer here. We miss you. Come and see us sometime, but we're glad you're still active and joining us. Celebrating birthdays this week and next week, because remember, it's the third Thursday next week, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. Emery Wilson, Lucas McAvoy, Nandy Shankin, Kelly Newman, Brad Blaine, Burl McCoy, John Wharton, and Rick Strode. Happy birthday, Rotarians. I'd like to have Marcus Cross join me at the podium to talk a little bit about what the membership committee is doing.
Thank you, Kim. We are thankfully on a bit of a roll right now, and Sean Lyons and I are heading a an effort to have folks who are interested in Rotary or have been here as guests or both to attend a very informal, easygoing luncheon on the third Thursday of the month while we're doing Rotary differently. So I want to keep this brief, but if you happen to know of somebody who you feel like would be a good candidate for Rotary and would just like to spend some, very easygoing time with Sean and I at the Rotary office, please see me or Sean. Sean, there we go. Thank you. I think everybody knows you anyway, but just to make sure we hit our bases. Please hit us up after the meeting and we would love to chat with you and talk to those folks who might have an additional interest in Rotary for those third Thursday luncheons at the Rotary office. Thank you.
I thought that was a great idea that Marcus and Sean talked about hosting that, just to give those guests that are interested a little bit more information about our club and Rotary in general. So thank you for doing that and taking that on. We have a new sergeant at arms. We all voted in Eric Brooks, but we've asked him to step in early for his duties because unfortunately Tom Cardiff is spending a lot more time out of town and he felt that he needed to step down from that role, and he's not even in town to be a member of the club anymore. So hopefully he'll come back. But thank you, Eric, for being willing to step in and take your role now. So we appreciate that. So he will be on the watch out for fines because he does come every week. Yeah. So anyway, leave your cell phone on. It's okay. The money will come to the club. Miracle League opening day this Saturday for the spring season at Shiloh Park at 10 to 2. If you have any questions or would like to get involved, please see Eileen O'Brien. Sorry you didn't win the lottery today, but at least you did come up. So she's over at this table. If you want to talk to her afterwards, how to get involved, reach out to her. And I'm going to plan on throwing the opening pitch, and it might be a sight. I don't know. I hope I make it across the plate. Peggy's selling t-shirts. So if you just want to attend the Miracle League, you can come and cheer on the kids. I mean, it's a great thing. So we'd like to have a strong presence. We've got Rotary t-shirts that if you want to wear Rotary gear out there while you're cheering on the kids, we'd love to have you do that. So you can see Peggy after the meeting and get a t-shirt. Now, I'd like to invite John Burnell, the president of our endowment, to come up and talk about Dancing with the Lexington Stars.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me be brief and real direct. Dancing with the Stars is our only fundraiser now. We need to raise money to do good works in this community. This year, the endowment board looked at our finances and we did not have enough money, to fund scholarships or the charitable, what we call the charitable giving committee, giving money, checks to God's Pantry, other organizations here in Lexington and Fayette County. And I've been in Rotary since 1999. This is the first time that I remember that that's ever happened. I look around the room and I see a lot of folks that I've been members with since that time, and you all know it's true. We used to have other fundraisers. This is our only fundraiser now. So the reason I'm up here today is we all need to write a check, contribute to the dancers, contribute bourbon. And folks, I want you to think about what you give to church and other organizations here in town. $50, $100, it doesn't go very far anymore. So don't give, don't think you're doing a great deal by giving $20 or $50 to the dance. You need to go together with others, put together a fund of you and your friends, but we've got to raise money if we want to continue to do all the good works that we've done over the last 100 years in this community. So please, please, the dance is coming up. This is the only fundraiser that we have. So giving $50 isn't gonna cut it. This is a place where you can give money and we're spreading it out and doing a lot more good than you can do individually. So please, please, when the dance is coming up, sponsor dancers, and I don't mean just for $20. You need to think about where you're contributing money in the community. So please, we want to continue to be Rotary good stewards in this community. Please dig a little deeper this year. Thank you.
The only thing I want to add to that is we want you to come. It's a great evening, and a lot of people who have never attended don't understand how much fun it is, and it really does kind of make you feel good when you realize that we've raised over, I think, 1.5 million in this event in 13 years. So, you know, we can really, if you come and have a good time and bring your friends from outside of Rotary, they can kind of learn more about our organization and what we're doing and what we're trying to do in the community. So we appreciate it. Thank you, John, for coming up and mentioning that, because it is important. People kind of forget this is the only fundraiser. You know, we've got 1 month. It's May 11th. So tickets are on sale, bourbon, you know, help us in any way you can. So we really appreciate it. Okay, doing Rotary differently. I briefly mentioned that it's the third Thursday of the month. This is when we should be getting out in the community or meeting in our committees, or invite a prospective Rotarian to lunch or coffee, but try to get out there and do outward communication about Rotary to someone else. I think that has really helped us, along with our PR committee, which I can't say enough, and the membership committee doing the things that you guys are doing. And everyone bringing guests. Thank you so much, because we are a great organization and we need to offer the opportunity to others. We don't need to keep it a secret anymore. So Saturday the 13th, Miracle Lake. Monday, Pollinator Garden Spring Cleanup. Oh, see Judy Worth. That's all I know about that. I guess they're going to be out there working on Monday. Thursday, the luncheon that Scott and Marcus are hosting at the Rotary office for potential members. We also on Thursday have the backpack pack up at God's Pantry at 1 o'clock. And then on Saturday is Ryla on April 20th, Rotary Youth Leadership Life Adventure Center, 7 to 5 in the morning to 5 p.m. with Chris Hickey. And Dean, you're at work with Chris. So if you have questions about volunteering or getting involved with Ryla, see Dean. Anything else on that? Okay. All right. Without further ado, I'd like to bring Matt Valentine up to the podium, please, to introduce our speaker.
Fellow Rotarians, good afternoon. Today I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Jeff Bischoff, who is the Chief Sales Officer of Gray. Kentucky native, born here in Louisville, small town roots. Jeff brings a strong set of values to his job, leading corporate sales and business development, overseeing branch office sales and related activities. When he's not working, Jeff enjoys and manages a cattle farm with his wife, Rebecca, and son, Sam. A graduate of our very own UK, got a bachelor's degree in political science, and his responsibilities now include sales and marketing for the Gray family of companies. And today, Jeff is going to share his work on advanced battery technology and Kentucky's future in this particular area. So without further delay, I give you our speaker today, Jeff Bischoff.
Thank you. Thank you all. Matthew, I appreciate that nice introduction. I don't know when I've ever had the opportunity to sit next to a more interesting individual. Your life's journey thus far, Juilliard to Florida, then to Lexington, to Richmond, and all in between is exceedingly interesting. So I hope I can be a little bit of a respite as we all take a break of trying to figure out who's going to be our next coach. So hopefully you all will find the information that I'm going to share with you today a little bit interesting. So the task, as I understand it, as Matthew explained, is we want to give a quick overview from our perspective at Gray Construction on what the current economy is as it relates to industrial development. The advanced technology side of things, EV in particular, and then give a deep dive into what we're doing on the Blue Oval project in Glendale, Kentucky. And then lastly, but probably most importantly, just kind of give our perspective on how the state of Kentucky is faring as it seeks to recruit new industry to the state. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. But to get us started, I thought it was important for us to kind of give a quick overview of Gray in general and kind of what positions us uniquely to give our opinion on this subject. Well, I was having a good day until that photo jumped up there. But so I've been at Gray now going on 24 years, and my good friend and colleague Yuki Cooper has been there almost as long, I think, Yuki. And so at Gray, we are a family-owned company. Excuse me. Yeah, there we go. Family-owned company, and our business is dedicated to the industrial design and construction, or the design and construction of industrial facilities. We operate throughout North America, in Europe. We've transitioned into Europe in the last year. And since joining the company, when I first started, we were doing about $185 million in revenue on an annual basis. This past year, our revenues are right at about $3.6 billion. And at the end of this fiscal year, we'll be close to $4 billion. So, yeah. Thank you. I'll allow you all to draw your conclusions. I don't know that I'm directly responsible for all that, but I'll take as much credit as you'll give me. But again, to say that this economy that we're currently seeing is robust would be an extreme understatement. I know Bob Quick and his team, they can validate all of what we're seeing. This is the golden age right now when it comes to industrial development, business recruitment, and quite frankly, we've never seen anything that comes close to this in the United States. I've heard this said, and I think it's correct. The era of time that comes closest to mirroring what we're seeing right now was when the United States was building a war machine to help defeat Nazi Germany. So again, nothing is ever taken place like what we're seeing today. For us, the markets that we serve primarily are food and beverage, which coincidentally we rank #1 in the United States for the design and construction of food and food and beverage related facilities. Secondly, our manufacturing obviously is a broad market, but we consistently rank in the top 5 in the United States for the design and construction of manufacturing facilities. Thirdly is distribution facilities. Distribution made up about 1/3 of our annual revenue. Primarily, all that was dedicated towards Amazon and the amount of facilities we were building for Amazon across the U.S. That has since slowed just a bit, and we'll get into that a little later. And then lastly, automotive facilities. Automotive started for Gray back in the early 80s when Toyota located in Georgetown. That's when really everything started for our company. Yuki can attest that foreign direct investment, particularly Japanese projects and Japanese construction, is kind of our calling card at Gray. That's what we're most known for. And again, that all started with the location of Toyota in Georgetown. And has since transitioned. We have representatives that work in Korea, representatives in China. We have a team that's focused on Europe and in Switzerland and Germany. And then we have another team that's located in Ireland doing projects there. So just to give you an understanding, and I don't know that the map is coming up really great, but again, these are the locations that we have within the United States and abroad. So obviously, we're extremely pleased to be located less than a block away, quite frankly, right across the street. And then we have offices, located operations offices in Charlotte, North Carolina, Phoenix, Arizona. We're not showing Dallas, Texas, but we recently opened there. Out in Issaquah, in Washington State. And then we have other companies. There's 9 companies that Gray has acquired over the last several years, all to help us in our design and construction endeavors. We spoke about Japan. Yuki and her colleagues keep an office in Tokyo. We have an office in Dublin, Ireland, in Basel, Switzerland, and then we're currently looking at opening another one in Frankfurt, Germany. So with that being said, all of this is being done by over 2,000 team members and located across the globe. Now, let's get into the subject. And that's basically looking ahead to the advanced technology market as we know it. So, right now to say that the market is hot is an understatement. Several months ago, if you asked me about the advanced technology market, that's batteries, semiconductors, and the like, I would have said it's a red hot market. Today, I would probably characterize it as probably red, white hot, or white hot's hotter than red hot. So let's say let's say that it is just hot. Batteries are just fueling investment across the U.S. The adoption of the electric vehicle mandate out of the Biden administration in Washington, the funding that's coming from the Inflation Reduction Act is just fueled this economy to a degree like we've never seen. Obviously, the state of Kentucky has benefited greatly. The Beshear administration, along with our new secretary, Noel, has done a tremendous job in recruiting, obviously, Blue Oval to Glendale, Kentucky. Envision is down in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And we have a battery storage facility that's being located in Shelbyville, Kentucky as well. So if you think of all things battery related, it is just, again, it doesn't seem to be any let up as far as that is concerned. Right now, what we've seen, the semiconductor side, CHIP Act has fueled a big reshoring of chips and chip manufacturers, Intel, Micron, and the like throughout the United States. Phoenix, Arizona is probably the hottest market in the U.S. right now when it comes to the production of chips and suppliers for the chip industry. But again, all these things are just making for an industrial market that is, again, more robust and hotter than we've ever seen. If you take into account the 30 plus years that I've been doing this, up to the pandemic, the start of the pandemic, it was unheard of to come across $1 billion design and construction project. That's just $1 billion contract for Gray. We never had come across anything that came close to that. Today, with these projects and the amount that are out there, we're hearing or we're competing for $1 billion projects on a weekly basis. This thing has just gotten so incredibly, the size of the projects, the complexity, the speed with which they're being constructed is unlike anything we've ever seen. So right now, if we were going to say the trends, what we're seeing right now, the emerging markets are systems, semiconductor suppliers, certainly the electrical EV suppliers, the tier 1 and 2 suppliers. Those projects are presenting themselves on a weekly basis. Sustaining EV batteries. So one of the things that we're having to deal with is the fact that, the market is a little bit schizophrenic right now. Battery manufacturers are doing their best to get projects in place, but the OEMs, Ford, GM, all the foreign manufacturers and the like, they're kind of hitting the pause button when it comes to investing heavily. Quite frankly, just because electric vehicles aren't moving off the lots as quickly as what they had anticipated. So right now, it's a little bit of a push and pull. The battery folks are continuing to come. They're continuing to bring opportunities to suppliers that support that. But then you've got the other folks, as I'll get into on the Glendale project for Blue Oval. They're trying to hit the pause button and slow things down just a little bit. If you look at the battery market, battery demand, again, as I said, continues to increase. We're seeing the EV side of things work its way into agriculture. You know, big equipment manufacturers like John Deere, Kubota, Caterpillar, all have battery projects right now that they're out looking for. Some in active site selection, some are starting construction. North America has been established as the EV battery manufacturing hotspot throughout the globe. So again, we are not going to see any slowdown on the EV, on the battery side of things. It's just how quickly the manufacturers adopt that. If we can take a look at this graph here, it just kind of shows you in the different areas the adoption of electric vehicles or the technology within it. Obviously, the electronics are 100% adoption rate. As far as the 2 to 3 wheelers, we're seeing about 45% of those vehicles are electric powered. And then as you work your way, we're about 15% in cars. Now, those are fully EV cars or hybrid cars and the like. And then obviously it works that way. But again, for us, we're extremely see this is for years to. This just kind of gives you a general idea. I know that's a little bit busy, but this map, you can see the red circles located within the past 3 years. Obviously, the bigger the red circle indicates the larger of the larger investment. Where these projects are located are essentially corridors that exist from Michigan down through the southeast, and they're still there. Again, Kentucky has done a wonderful job of staking its claim for these type of projects, but you can see that Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi not so much, but Georgia, Alabama, and the Carolinas are doing extremely well. We work our way out west. You know, we could see certainly that Phoenix is doing well. You've got the Tesla project that's up on the Reno, California border and the like. The biggest market for us right now, where we're seeing the most growth at Gray, is in the solar market. So where we've staked our claim is on the manufacturing of solar panels. So we've got the 3 biggest solar manufacturing projects currently being. One's in Georgia, one's in Oklahoma, the other one is in Texas. These projects, solar wave is another thing on the green energy push that's really fueling our growth, and there's a lot more of that coming. And then last but not least is, and lagging, but is the wind side of things. We're just not seeing a whole lot of activity on the wind side. So one of the things we want to talk about was the Blue Oval, the SK battery project in Glendale, over in Hardin County. We're extremely blessed to be a part of the team that's constructing that facility. We are a partner with a company out of Detroit, a company by the name of Barton Mallow. This project came to us, I think 3 years ago was the first time I went up and we had our first meeting on the project. At that time, we had it estimated at about a $2.5 billion project. Well, it has since grown to well over $5 to $5.5 billion. It is certainly the largest project that we've ever done. In addition to that, it's the largest project that's ever been done in the state of Kentucky. You could take the airports in Lexington, Northern Kentucky, and Louisville together, and it doesn't come close to this. This is, again, one of the largest industrial projects taking place in the United States, with the exception of Micron, Intel, and a couple of the chip manufacturers. Right now, what we're doing is the project, as you can see, is a dual EV battery production facility with over 8 million square feet. Take into account that 1 million square feet is roughly 26 acres. So where we have is about 184 acres under roof is where we're at. In addition to that, on a daily basis, you could account for around 2,000 to 2,500 workers on site. When we start, and we have started the interior production, the processing equipment installation, that's going to be another 1,500. So at the end of the day, there'll be well over 5,000 people that have worked or are working on this project. It expects to hire 5,000 people. Now, right now, where we're at, we're installing equipment in phase 1, and we're currently building phase 2. So it's 2 mirror images of the buildings. There's roughly 9 buildings, as I said, they make up over. Ford has kind of hit the, for the reasons I stated earlier. Again, vehicles aren't moving off the lots as quickly as they'd like. The electric vehicles aren't. So they've kind of hit the pause button, especially when they were in UAW negotiations in Louisville and some other spots. They kind of just held up a little bit, but we are seeing movement again. And we're confident that phase 2 is going to move forward. Maybe not as fast a pace as once envisioned, but it will move forward nonetheless. So currently, as you can see, that's an aerial view. We've got some things going on inside. The numbers on this are incredible. If you took the structural steel on this project, it equates to over 15 Eiffel Towers, if that means anything. I mean, we've never seen anything that comes close to this as far as the scale and the speed and just the size of it all. One of the interesting pieces of this is a union project. Gray is a non-union company, or we are an open shop company, but it is being done by a union workforce. And that is a requirement of the infrastructure. If you look at the Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIP Acts, it's all tied to working with union labor. One of the main hurdles that we had to overcome was, in addition to this project and several others that are going and taking Inflation Reduction Act money, then you have the Intel project that's being done up in Columbus, Ohio. Well, you think Columbus, Ohio is, what, 3.5, 4 hours away? It shouldn't affect us, but everybody's using union labor to construct these projects. Then take into account that Intel has a $100 million labor attraction fund that they're using to bring construction laborers to their project. So we're essentially fighting for qualified workforce in order to produce these projects. So it's there's a lot of unforeseen circumstances that we're having to deal with. Secondly, just kind of a look at Kentucky and really how Kentucky is faring in this new economy and kind of the new rules right now. You know, as I said earlier, Kentucky has positioned itself very well. You know, we have 3 battery projects: the Envision AECS in Bowling Green, Blue Oval, and then we have Intervenue, was the storage project that's currently being done in Shelbyville. So again, kudos to the economic development efforts from the state of Kentucky, because again, they're doing a good job. You know, admittedly, I have down here at the bottom, you know, and Bob Quick, you can attest to this, the drivers for site selection and industry location have completely changed since the pandemic. Since these projects have come out, we've never seen projects of this scale from an electric demand standpoint, from just a square footage standpoint, and from a site standpoint. Again, you know, we used to say that mega sites are 1,000 acres or greater. People used to put mega sites on there. It used to be a marathon. Well, now it's turned into a sprint, because if you have a mega site, it's essentially been zapped up. That is the first. There are 2 drivers for where industry locates today. Number one, can you provide the power for the project? Your utility provider, whether it's KU, LG&E, whether it's the co-ops, East Kentucky Power, you know, are we able to generate enough power to meet the scheduled demands for these projects? That's number one. And number two, do you have a large enough available site? Kentucky on the Glendale site, you know, I think that site was put together, it's been well over 20 years ago, Bob. Yeah, so Governor Patton and put that site together, and it sat there for 20 years. I think it was somewhere around 1,400 acres. It was a runner-up to the Hyundai plant that located in Montgomery, Alabama. And again, it was just there. Quite frankly, it was, you know, and it was there and with a lot of gnashing of teeth. And there was a lot of critics that really thought that was a poor decision on behalf of the state of Kentucky to own that site. Man, it turned out to be probably the greatest thing we ever did, given, you know, today's circumstances. Because again, when you have, if you have control of a mega site, you're gonna get a big project. There's two other big sites in the state of Kentucky right now. There is everybody knows where Buc-ee's is on interstate there, in Richmond. So there's around 12 to 1,400 acres there, Bob, that, the Bagley site, as it's known, again, that's getting a ton of attention, and that's gonna locate, there's something that's gonna land there, you can bet on it. And then secondly, in Rockcastle County, they've put together, I don't know if they have all the land secured and all the, put together there, but again, another 1,500 to 2,000 acre site that's gonna be located there. Again, it's kind of like that Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner. It's instead of build it, they will come. If you have a mega site, they will come. And so within the current environment, so we expect great things. There's going to be some more announcements coming soon on that. Lastly, where do we see things going in the future as it relates to the industrial market? There's going to be over 600 million square feet of new industrial construction in the United States in 2024. As you can see over on the red represents manufacturing projects, the gray facilities. We have never seen anything that comes close to the investment that's currently working in the manufacturing arena. Again, a lot of that is fueled by, again, Inflation Reduction Act money, CHIPS money, but secondly, it's the reshoring effect. Foreign direct investment has always been, key to what we've done at Gray, what we're doing at Gray. Right now, we're seeing reshoring. It took a little while for things to get going after the pandemic, but people are certainly bringing their work back to the United States. For us right now, industrial construction spending has peaked or will peak in this calendar year in 2024, but we don't see a precipitous drop. We still see it continuing on a steep rise, but we see it kind of leveling off. But again, the numbers that we're seeing in today's day and age, it's unlike anything that we've ever seen before. We see a lot of runway for investment, a lot of things that wanted to jump down here, manufacturing on data centers. Data center construction is probably our second biggest market right now. We're doing a lot of work for Microsoft, for AWS, that's probably representing about 2.5 billion of our revenue right now. And again, there's no end in sight. Everything that we have, as consumers, produces data. Maybe not every, if you take into account our doorbells now produce data that has to be stored somewhere. And that's not going to slow up. Everybody has heard about AI, the artificial intelligence boom that's coming. Again, that's another driver. Data centers, all the companies that are in that, whether it's Google, whether it's Facebook, whether it's, again, Microsoft, AWS, those folks are going to continue to build, and they're going to continue. Again, the first criteria for them to locate a facility, do you have enough power to be able to withstand it? So again, we see great things in the future there. And so for us, we're extremely bullish. We think there's a lot of runway there. We think the state of Kentucky is going to continue to do great things. New jobs are going to be developed. And again, we just think that the future is incredibly bright. So, thank you.
Questions, if you have some, just a couple minutes. Okay, Marcus?
I know you're not speaking for Ray, but people who have one way or the other about the sale, deal.
Well, that's a good question. Obviously, we've seen one of the things that again, as we look at reshoring, as we look at national security, as we look at all the things, that drive, a lot of our industrial policy, the manufacturing of steel domestically is at the top of the list. We have got to keep that going. We've got to make that a priority. You just can't ship, you can't outsource that, to foreign companies. And so, other than saying, I think it's gonna be a priority. You know, obviously, we've seen the news that there's another aluminum facility that's looking in northeast Kentucky up on the river. Again, there is still drivers, Nucor right now. Nucor has over $10 billion worth of construction projects on an annual basis. Brandenburg, Kentucky, up in Kent, Kentucky. They're doing it right across the line over in West Virginia. So there's more steel ramping up. So steel projects are going to continue to be big. And I would be surprised if, I think it would be a mistake if a foreign entity was to come in and buy U.S. steel. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the
Absolutely. I think that's probably the next wave of alternative energy sources is hydrogen. You know, if you're looking at semi trucks, for instance, we looked at the battery or the EV absorption within the market. You know, the biggest hurdle, you know, for battery technology as it relates to semi trucks or over the road trucks is basically the weight. You know, you would be taking the equivalent of 3 passenger cars worth of weight and putting it in a semi to make it fully electric. So again, you know, the hydrogen piece of it, some other things, it's got to play a part. And I think it's, you know, again, it's only a matter of time.
I can't see.
Sure.
Oh, it's got you. Okay, Jeff, sorry, I couldn't see your face.
Jeff, if Republicans win in November, how do you see that will affect, if any, the battery? Because they're more than fossil fuels and the battery side of it.
Yeah, and that's a great question. And I was going to hit on that, so I'm glad you brought it up. You know, what I think the toothpaste is out of the tube, so to speak, and I don't think there's any turning back. I don't believe that Republicans see anything different. Again, and not making this a political statement or whatever else, but it depends on who you talk to, whether the current economic strategy of this administration somewhat mirrors the economic strategy of the administration previous. So again, I just don't see that there's going to be a whole lot of departure as it relates to that. Now, will there be some different things? Will coal be back in play? And coal probably needs to be back in play for a while, because I just don't think that we can do all the things that we think we're going to do from a green energy standpoint on the timeline that we're expecting. So again, I think you're going to have to bring some of those things in. You know, as it relates to the upcoming election, that's one thing. If there is a bit of a dark cloud, and dark cloud's probably maybe a little too strong, but a little bit of something to keep your eye on. You know, decision making during an election year grinds to a crawl. It slows down tremendously, especially for foreign direct investment. You know, again, foreign decision makers like to know who's going to be sitting in the White House before they pull the plug on a major investment. It'll be one of the things that we're going to have to look out for. Decision making just slows down when, you know, again, when an election is soon. So yeah.
Jeff has graciously agreed to stay and answer some more questions because we're out of time, but I thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Very fun.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys. What a great presentation. Thank you. And I hope you have a great rest of the day and week, and hopefully you'll do Rotary differently next week. Thank you. We're adjourned.